Steven,
Yeah.
the Raiders can't possibly lose today, right?
Oh, there's a real chance they lose. Yeah. Like I was thinking about it last night.
Yeah.
Like every win or every loss that they've had, there's somewhere I've come away like, okay, it can't get worse than that. But now the opposition hired Jeff Saturday as their coach and some 30-year-old as their play caller. So it
Okay, well,
can
hold
get
on.
worse.
Hold on. The 30-year-old thing is not that big of a deal to me. We've seen coaches very young before. It's the Jeff Saturday thing that is just the biggest. This would be the biggest kick in the dick of all time for Raider Nation if they were to lose today to a guy with no coaching experience whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, it would
Well,
be
high school.
it would be one of the if they lose, no matter the way they lose, I don't care how they lose, if they do, it would be like the worst loss in Raider history if that happens, just given everything.
I mean, we'll get all into it. There are some factors at play today that they very well could lose, but we'll talk about it. Welcome to Just Your Pregame Show, man. Week 10 edition. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa, Guten Tag, as some games have already kicked off, or a game has already kicked off in old Germany. And we got, is that the right phrase, Guten Tag?
I don't know. It sounds right though.
I'm just basing this off of the three pigs in Shrek.
Oh,
We got the Seahawks and we got the Buccaneers, and currently the Buccaneers are leading the Seahawks 14-3. So some offense is coming to life for old Tom Brady, and
he huffed and he puffed and he signed an eviction notice.
yeah, you were waiting to squeeze that one in there.
Yeah.
I think we both took the Bucks. I think we both laid the points, but you took the over and I took the under, and I think what was it, 42?
Yeah, somewhere there. I thought like my thought process through it was like I wanted to take
44 and a half.
I wanted to take the under also, but then like I thought maybe Tom Brady would get going in Germany for some reason, and then the Seahawks offense was actually going to do more than score 3 points, but I guess not.
Still got a lot of ball game to play.
Quite a lot. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like, what was it? I mean, there were some last week. I don't know if there were any real surprises last week. I looked through it, but I totally forgot. As far as overs or unders.
Well, you beat me once
Yeah.
again. So here's the deal. I mean, shit, you beat me by one. You really killed me. I was leading for most of the week 9 slate of games, and then you hit a Steph Curry three, no look, with hitting 3 of the things needed for the last Monday night game.
Oh,
You got the team right, you got the point spread right, and you got the over under right. So you beat me by one. And I have put off this for a long time. I have lost. I mean, I am off my game this season, and many teams are off their game this season. But I especially, when it comes to picking games, have been totally just terrible because I
Yeah.
keep thinking that the teams from a season ago will just get their act together, and they haven't. So I need to just go with the flow of who's good and who's bad this season.
Well, that's
But
that's the thing about picking against the spread, though, Derek. It sounds like you're being hard on yourself, man. It's okay. It's not like
it's not okay, Steven.
why is it not okay?
Because I'm supposed to be good at this. This is my thing.
No, your thing is having football knowledge, and you understand your football, and you know what you're talking about. You have some well-educated, well thought out answers.
Thank you.
But
it's just not said very well sometimes.
It's football.
Articulated well.
It's football. So
yeah there you
know, things happen where you can't really predict it. Yeah, tough week for you overall, though. The fantasy thing, your streak is over.
Yes, that too. So in the Tickle My Butthole Fantasy League, I am 0-9, but this was the first week that I was the low man on the totem pole when it came to point totals.
Yeah.
And in this league, you have to, when you are that said person, you have to chug a beer. So once a year, I'm good for it. I film a video of myself chugging a beer, and got it out of the way. But at least I didn't have to chug a Truly like old Jimbo Kincaid last night. Good Lord. Ugh.
Yeah, when he poured that into the glass, I was like, that is what a Truly is colored? Oh, that's...
Yeah.
I don't want to drink that.
I'm not a Truly or a, what's the other one?
White Claw.
White Claw guy.
Just not a seltzer guy in general, huh?
Not really. Not really.
I love them. I
All right.
could drink them all day.
I mean, they're good for calories, probably, but just not. I don't like vodka in a can.
But it's not
Yeah,
vodka in a can though. It's like there's like a hint of there's like not even a hint of vodka in it. It's like just sparkling water with a little flavor.
basically yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't acknowledge it as alcohol. It's fake to me. Anyway, so I owe you and I owe Alon a shit ton of punishments, I guess.
Why would what's with it? What'd you do with the lawn? Which ones
Well,
did you do?
Alon and I do the Thursday night picks
Ah,
because
right.
he does the midweek show. So I owe you and I owe Alon, and the only way I can think of doing it is by doing the classic let's eat some wings. So yesterday I went to Old Wingstop, and I got this
Oof.
beautiful display here, like a Friday's commercial,
Oh, nice.
or Chili's.
Yeah.
I got some carrots, and I
Uh-huh.
got 6 atomic wings and some celery.
Put it up a little bit. Put it up in the yeah, there you go. Ooh.
Yeah, looks pretty good. And I got some ranch,
Well,
and I'm gonna drink it down with the same thing I used for the punishment video. The official sponsor of Just Your Opinion, man, a Modelo, Breakfast of Champions. So,
Wait.
Steven, oh, sorry, go ahead.
So I just want to clarify to anyone who's watching or to anyone who's listening right now, you are eating 6 atomic wings.
Yes,
Right?
I'm going to do that while we do this podcast right now. And if I need to use the bathroom, you know why.
But I also remember like the first time that we ate Wingstop together, which was quite a long time ago over at Brian Burns's house, you voluntarily picked atomic wings.
It is my go-to. Usually, when I'm not having to do a punishment, I usually go 5 atomic and 5 mango habanero.
Yeah. So
And
the
then,
spiciest, literally
yeah.
the spiciest they got.
Listen, I'm always training, Steven. If I am one of these, hot ones guys, or going to take on uh, Joey Chestnut or any of these, you know, uh, Carolina Reaper challenges, I need to prepare myself. So the diarrhea has been has been a problem through the years, but I'm so nervous to do this right now, actually. But
Yeah, I can
I am
tell.
willing to sacrifice myself for the good of the podcast. So
Oh man.
while I take my punishments for being a terrible picker, I give you the floor, sir. I've said my piece with Alon earlier this week about the Raiders.
Oh,
I will give you the floor from the game itself last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars, a third blown 17-point lead this season to everything. They released Jonathan Abram this week. Another first round pick that has not, done anything with the Raiders. I mean, he did all right, but not what they were looking for. When you're trading away Khalil Mack and you're getting three first round picks, including Amari Cooper, then you expect to get some talent back. So, from Cleveland Farrell to Jonathan Abram. I mean, Cleveland Farrell's still on the team, but Alex Leatherwood cut earlier this year. Just everything, Steven. Your thoughts on going 2-6 and the game, losing the Jacksonville Jaguars and the utter disappointment that is the Las Vegas Raiders this season.
Oh gosh. Well, yeah, that game last week was awful. It's the thing is like they're 2-6, right? And normally with other teams, we're gonna give them patience. We are gonna give them time to actually gel. But with this situation with the Raiders, there was no time for that. It was absolutely like Josh McDaniels gets hired. You trade for Devontae Adams. You sign Devontae Adams. Like you need to be winning.
Sorry, I got boneless. Jesus.
So you got atomic chicken nuggets.
Yeah,
That's fine.
which I guess helps with the mess, but
That really helps with the mess.
boneless though. What kind
Yeah.
of person am I? And I got the hiccups. Anyway.
Oh
Go
boy. No, it's just like as a Raider fan, there's no team that I personally want to see win a championship more than the Raiders as far as my fandom goes. Because I've seen every team that I'm a fan of. Well, maybe the Sharks too. But every team that I'm a fan of, I've at least seen the Sharks go deep in the playoff. Actually, the Sharks have just been back at that time in the late 2000s. That was as disappointing as anything. And then when they went to the Stanley Cup final and lost, anyway. But I haven't seen the Raiders do a single thing. And I thought back in 2014, as I'm wondering, but prior to 2014, as I'm wondering when the Raiders are actually going to get a quarterback who's confident in throwing the football and actually looks like he knows what he's doing. And when he drops back to pass, he actually looks like he has conviction of where he wants to go and he can actually throw the ball. So when Derek Carr came to the team, I'm like, all right, you know what? At the very least, we got our quarterback. And then we had that edge rusher in Khalil Mack. And back in 2014, I didn't understand the value of pass rushers as much as I do now. And that trade hurts and stings and it's terrible. And it's just now we're in this totally new regime where everybody's gone and you've tried to create this whole new system, but you're still doing it with the same players. Like, it's just super disappointing already that the season's gotten off to the start that it has. I'll give anyone in football the benefit of the doubt to pick things up the next season because it's football, anything can happen. But man, it's just hard to see what the vision is with these two guys right now with Josh McDaniels. I don't know what Dave Ziegler's really thinking. Mark Davis, apparently he's already had another meeting with McDaniels. What is it? How many times? What was that crazy stat that came out as far as teams coming back from a 17-0 deficit? There's been 5 of them that have happened this season and 3 of them with the Raiders.
Yes, but the Raiders in their history have had it, done to them 8 times and 3 alone this season.
Right. That's right. Yeah. So that whole stat, I think it's very telling, but also as far as the actual game, it's been the story of the season. It is just a tale of 2 halves. One half you kick ass and you have that half like you did against the Cardinals or you did against the Jags, whatever it is, and then the second half you change things up you just seem confused as to what you want to do. And as far as that game, I didn't even know what happened in the second half. It was all such a blur. The defense is terrible. But the offense, it doesn't even give you enough time to process what just happened because they're just off the field that quickly. It's all right, one run from Josh Jacobs, it doesn't work. We're going to pass for the rest of the downs. I didn't even rewatch the game. Normally, I at least watch the condensed game every week, but I couldn't watch this one. I didn't want to. You go off with Devontae Adams in the first half, that you barely even give him the ball in the second half. I don't know. Then the Renfrow thing too. It's just all such a.
Which Renfrow thing?
Well, it's just through the season, I was thinking prior to him getting injured, what's he done at all this year? Whenever he's been in, he hasn't done much. It's just there's too much, man. And then the defense is just the same. Chandler Jones seems like he was a waste of money. As of right now, he does not look good.
Only a half a sack.
I mean, after the 5 sacks last year, what did he have? Another 5 through the season?
Yes.
So the 5 sacks in one game. So I don't know. Dude, the one game that I rewatched, the condensed game, was the Bills-Jets game, just so I can get an idea of how the Jets actually beat the Bills. That was the one I rewatched this week.
Pass defense.
Yeah.
They're young pass defense. Me and Alon were talking about it earlier this week, where if you had to rebuild the defense, the hardest thing to do would be to rebuild the secondary right away. But I don't know. So many teams now have drafted so well in their secondary. We're seeing that right now with the Seahawks. I think Tariq Woolen, rookie for the Seahawks, just picked off Tom Brady. So there are ways to do it, but
for sure.
I get from what you're saying, Steven, is that you want to rebuild the whole defense, and that's what my takeaway was, is that the only people that you would keep would be Max Crosby at this point. Tell me if I'm wrong. Max Crosby, Trayvon Merrick, Denzel Perryman, Nate Hobbs. That's about it.
I could make the case that it would just be Perriman, Hobbs, and Crosby. I don't understand Merrick, what he does well. I don't.
He's young, though. He's young.
Well, he's very young, but I just don't get what he does.
At least he's shown. Well, yeah, but he was better in coverage a year ago. At least he's shown more to me than Jonathan Abram.
Right. Yeah.
And that's another.
Sorry, Jonathan Abram had to go.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that no one will want to take him. Like, it's bad enough. Like, 3 first-round picks have been cut by the Raiders in the past 2 years. Actually 4. Sorry, Henry Ruggs, Damon Arnett, Alex Leatherwood, and now Jonathan Abram. The fact that nobody wanted him at the trade deadline is just telling.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, I am with you that this season has been a huge utter disappointment. I heard you alluded to it with Derek Carr. How much blame do you put on Derek Carr as opposed to Josh McDaniels?
Um, I put some of it on Carr, because he just makes some bad decisions, like that. You know, if he makes that throw to Abdullah, with 55 seconds left to go, that changes everything with the game. That changes how they approach the second half. The Jags don't get 3 points back, or they might, but like you need to make that pass. You need to make that. Like that one needs to be accurate. It's a wheel route down the seam, boom. Like you
It's the
need
same one that he threw to Brandon Bolden earlier this year, week 1.
exactly. And I put some of it on Carr though. Maybe Carr's not the answer either. He's, I think he's indecisive. Like he knows when he has a guy open, like he knows when he wants to throw the ball, and he can, man. Like he has the arm strength. He has, as what they like to call, arm talent. He's got that, but it's when he's in the pocket, he doesn't know whether to run. It's when the pocket starts to collapse and he starts to overthink like the pass rush and what he's supposed to do. Like I absolutely think that. But McDaniels is the one to me where it's like he's also indecisive. He doesn't know what he wants to do, and it's the plays that get me are the ones where you have a chance and it's third and short and you're trying to go for the home run. It's like pick up the first down. You got plenty of time. Again, I haven't even bothered to rewatch the end of that game, but I mean the last one, where was it? It was like right before. Yeah, it was when they turned it down. When they turned it over on downs, when the Jags were up 24-20. It's like second and 2, third and 2, fourth and 2. You're trying to go for the home run every play.
Yeah.
It's like you got 3 minutes left, man. Just I don't know. And the thing with McDaniels too, Derek, is like you heard all this stuff about him prior to him joining the Raiders. It was it felt like across the board, everyone was a big fan of the McDaniels hire. Like everyone thought, he's going to come back from his time with the Broncos and all that. But then you hear the stories from the players and just essentially how he is like a really smart football guy, like as far as the X's and O's, but as far as being like a people person, and also he's really cocky. And it feels like when they're up 17-0, it feels like he doesn't even like, he feels like he still has Tom Brady. It's like, we have a 17-0 lead. What are they really going to do? Like, no, that's not how it is. I think there's something to it.
There was an interesting quote this week, or should I say after the game, from Derek Carr, where he said, I know what I need to say to the team, but I'm not going to say it here. And then he said, we got to believe that just 30 minutes of football doesn't mean the game's over.
Yeah.
I don't know who that's directed at. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the coach. And it doesn't seem like this team is very inspired when they play either. I asked Alon this question earlier this week. Should the Raiders have moved on from Rich Bisaccia? And I think the answer is yes, just because, I mean, if we're going to go based on last year, then no, you shouldn't have, because he got that team to the playoffs and they went 10-7.
Well, also, can I say this about Bisaccia too? They also had Olsen, right? They had Greg Olsen there. Like, it was Gruden's team. Bisaccia just took over and kept running things the way that Gruden really had, or not running things, but they already had a structure for their season, like a whole new offseason, brand new team. Like Bisaccia, if you're hired, like it's officially your team. All right, like it's your time. And I just think it would have been different.
Yeah. I also think, it's tough to go from a team that won last year, then change the whole coaching staff, everything, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, the entire coaching staff, and just change it up on the Raiders. and expect them to be just as good a season ago or better. But that's, the expectation with the talent that they had. And I bought into it. That's why I'm so disappointed because on paper, this is supposed to be the best Raider team we've seen since 2016. I thought even better offensively. But yeah, dude, something's up with Josh McDaniels. I don't know if he really inspires this team. I don't really know if he's learned much since his Denver Bronco days. It's just been another disappointment. And yes, some of the blame falls on Derek Carr as well. Um, I keep bringing this up, but I just hate the fact that there's still a learning process every time he gets a new coach. But that's on Josh McDaniels too. Like, you know, did he really prepare these guys this offseason? Did they really understand the offense? Did Patrick Graham really explain the illusion of complexity?
That's also one that's baffling to me too. Like, just as much as people were touting the Josh McDaniels hire, the Patrick Graham hire, according to everybody, according to every expert, every analyst, that was a home run pick, a home run hire. Like, he did you see what he did with the Giants defense the season before? Oh, he is going to do wonders for this Raiders defense. And then it's like, that was the weird part about that game. It's not even like, they're just giving up the deep ball all the time. And it's like none of the secondary can keep up. It's not like that. It's just passes just right over the middle. Like, they're just all wide open. Trevor Lawrence had a fantastic game. He was very accurate. I got to give him credit. But at the same time, these players
with the ease.
These players were just wide open, dude.
Yeah, it's a lack of pass rush. And Chandler Jones, I don't know what you do with that because I think that it's just not worth the contract. You may just straight have to cut him after the season. Yeah, it's been bad. I don't know how it gets better from here. Maybe it's just because Josh McDaniels has another year under his. I don't think he's gonna get fired. I don't think it's gonna happen, and I don't think they're gonna move on from Derek Carr. It's just even though he's not playing. What's up?
You don't think they're gonna move off Derek Carr?
Do you think they are?
Oh, man, that's gonna be it depends because there's still plenty of season left to go. So I'm not gonna act like the season's over now. But if he continues to play like he did against the Jags, where you're not making a throw to clinch the game, but also you look confused in the second half, like if you continue to have games like that, that's not going to be worth $40 million a year for the next 2 seasons.
But how do you upgrade?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So
you can't be just Jim Irsay and say, get me Matt Ryan. I don't like Matt Ryan anymore. Let's bench him for Sam Ehlinger.
So
let's call Peyton Manning to be head coach. He won't return my calls? All right, Jeff Saturday.
Nice.
That's my best Joey Molinaro impression of Jeff Saturday, if you saw that sketch.
Very good. I did not.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Well, who are you watching on TV right now?
Oh, Seahawks and Bucks.
Yeah, who's the quarterback of the Bucks?
Tom Brady.
Huh. There's a good place for a D4A? Vegas. Who's his former coach? McDaniels.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, I don't know, man. Look, if they were to move on from him, they'd have to do something bold. I don't know if it takes, like, this is going to be blasphemous to say. Like what? Like trading Derek Carr and Darren Waller to the Packers for Aaron Rodgers, then you bring Aaron Rodgers back with Devontae Adams. You know what I mean? Like, that would have to be it. I don't know, but
yeah,
you are right. Like, what else would you do? Like, I mean, honestly, the most likely scenario is they sign him under contract for the next couple of years. Then they probably draft a quarterback. Like, that's the most likely scenario.
That could be the case. I just think it's going to be tough for them to move on. Unless, yes, the Tom Brady could be on the table. Aaron Rodgers could be on the table. That'd be weird to say, all right, Aaron Rodgers, you guys are leaving. Aaron Rodgers, you're going to play with Devontae Adams, and Devontae Adams wanted to get away from you. Yeah, man, it's been another disappointment. 2-6 is not how anybody thought the season was going to start. I thought that the Arizona Cardinals game was just like a freak thing, and then turned out to be just a recurring thing where they keep blowing leads in the second half. I don't know what Josh McDaniels' mindset is, or why he's just not more creative with his offense and scheming things up. And I don't know, dude. It's just been bad. It's just been a bad season. Rich Bisaccia, it's tough to just sell a fan base on stuff like that. Even though
Yeah.
he got them to the playoffs, you just got to upgrade. And with an opportunity to have Josh McDaniels, he was, ever sought after, and he was, you know, Bill Belichick's guy, and it just sounded good. I'm not willing to pull the plug on it yet because I still think he's gonna get another season. I don't know about Derek Carr. You're making a compelling argument for Tom Brady and everybody else. I just think it's gonna be
Especially
hard.
the Vegas is a great place for divorcee's part.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
That's the number one.
But and especially when he was so close, I guess, to signing originally, and Gruden nixed the deal.
His guy, Dana White.
Yeah,
Dana
Dana
White.
White. But yeah,
He's got
dude.
that Dana White privilege.
Yeah. Speaking of which, how was that fight last night?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome.
Who was the dude that was fighting that needed to make weight by busting a nut?
That was Alex Pereira.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, wait, was it?
Was it him?
Have you seen the video of Taylor Rooks interviewing the fighter, and she was like, "What's the weirdest thing you had to do to make weight?" And he was like, "Oh man, I don't want to say this."
Probably Adesanya then.
Adesanya, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he didn't have to do. I thought you were talking about this past fight because Pereira almost didn't make weight.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was very close. It was nerve wracking, but yeah, it was fantastic last night. It was like across the board. The card was awesome. Yeah, Poirier versus Chandler was probably the fight of the night. But yeah, the main one, Adesanya versus Pereira. Jeez, dude's a monster. But yeah, going back to it, I think that God, I don't think football people like. I don't think fans realize just how patient these guys can be. Like fans don't have patience. Every year you want to win the Super Bowl. Every year you want your team to do something. But I think that as far as like the way that football coaches feel, like I think McDaniels probably has that same idea. Like I could do this with Carr. I could still do this with Carr. Give me a couple more years. We got his option anyway. Like, just give me a couple of more years with him. And then if you don't, what if Carr's like his last stand? He says like, I got 3 more years left on my deal. Carr has 2. If I can't get you to where you want to be in 2 years, then you know what? You can axe me. Like, maybe that's a thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I really don't know. And you would have to believe Devontae Adams came to this team to play with Derek Carr, but also we've seen it before where guys want to play with guys and then they get frustrated. Odell Beckham with Baker Mayfield. So,
yeah,
anything's on the table, I think, this offseason, with the exception of Josh McDaniels being fired. I just, you don't make a move like that just to get rid of it right away.
Yeah. But how to fix the defense, though, is
they may have to fire Patrick Graham unless things vastly improve. They got to rebuild. I think they got to rebuild the whole defense, to be honest.
Something else about that Jets game, too. I'm watching that. Because anytime I'm watching a 49ers game, I'm always like, why haven't the Raiders ever put together a defense like that and just like dominated? Like when I was watching the Jets,
they did in 2006.
Good Lord. When I was watching the Jets defense, like I was seeing so much of the 49ers. I saw so much of Robert Saleh and what he put in the 49ers team, and just watching that Jets defense, the way that they were attacking with like CJ Mosley is basically their Fred Warner. I think CJ Mosley is super underrated. Like Quinnen Williams was awesome in that game against Buffalo. Like their linebackers fly to the ball. Like whenever anybody has the ball in their hands, it's like all 11 guys are going after that player. It's just with the Raiders, it seems like it's one guy after another. Like that, the missed tackles from like Anthony Averett on Travis Etienne getting into the end zone, like little things like that. It's just, how are there not players flying to the ball? It's it's like they're thinking so much like about the play. It's just they're overthinking it, and then all of a sudden, before they know it, the offense is scored and they're running right by them. It's like, what is going on? And it's almost the same thing that we've seen. Like that might be the most disappointing part.
It's not like that's something new this season. The Raiders have always not had a lot of effort on defense for whatever
Yeah,
reason.
yeah.
I don't know why that's the case, but what you just did there, Steven, pointing to your head, that's what Josh McDaniels, if you saw it, at one point did to Derek Carr during a commercial break. It was quick. If you saw it on the CBS broadcast, this is why I don't really know the relationship with Josh McDaniels and Derek Carr. On that quote of Derek's after the game was kind of interesting to me.
Yeah.
But there was a point where they were going to break on CBS, and just a quick shot, you see Josh McDaniels turn to Derek Carr and point to his head, saying, like, what are you thinking there? That's why I don't know, like, who really is to blame for this right now. But I mean, like, when you blow 3 17-point leads, it's on the coaching.
Oh yeah.
And they have the talent. They have the talent offensively. Offensive line, I don't really know what the situation is there. I mean, it's not very good, and that's something they need to improve on. But as far as everything else, they have the offensive talent. It just hasn't been shown, and it's just been really disappointing.
Well, it's been shown, but it's been shown for like a half or like a quarter. You know,
Well, that's what I
been
mean,
shown-
like-
it hasn't been shown for an entire game, and that's the
Yes.
most frustrating part. I've said like 17 different things are the most frustrating part. All of it's frustrating.
Yeah.
About this Raider team.
But it
right
hasn't
now,
been
man.
consistent. It hasn't been consistent where they are like the Miami Dolphins, where
Hmm.
even though their defense is not great, they still keep putting the foot to the pedal. They still keep scoring and scoring and scoring. And that's what I thought this Raider team was going to be. I didn't think the defense was going to be spectacular. I think the offensive line was going to be spectacular. But we're seeing a lot of poor offensive line play this season, and that's why I think scoring has been down this year.
Yeah.
But especially for the Raiders, yeah, I mean, I sent you the stat, the amount of times that Darren Waller and Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow have been on the field together has only been 42 snaps this season.
Yeah.
That's not a recipe for success. And of course, the reason why this game today is so nerve-wracking when it shouldn't be is because they're missing two of their best playmakers. So I have to believe that Hunter Renfrow has been hurt for most of the season, and that's why he has performed well.
Yeah.
So he's been placed on IR with an oblique injury. He's out for 4 weeks. And then Darren Waller with the hamstring, out for 4 weeks too. You're 2-6. I don't really know if you want to rush those guys back. It is what it is. You got to get guys healthy. But it's a concern with Darren Waller, especially with how consistent he is injured. But your only receiver today is going to be Devontae Adams that you really rely on. I mean, Matt Collins is all right. Foster Moreau.
I like Mac Hollins, but I don't like him as like a number 2. I
Yeah,
like him as like a
exactly.
number 3 or someone that you put in certain packages, but I don't like him as like the de facto number 2 player.
Yeah, and we've seen it in a lot, like the Tennessee game. Derek went to him a lot more than Devontae Adams, and that may be the case today, where he's going to be Devontae Adams may be taken away by the Colts defense. And say what you want about Jeff Saturday and everything, they are playing Gus Bradley today, who
Yeah.
knows the Raiders from a season ago. So, just your thoughts, Steven, as well, of Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow
Yeah.
being placed on IR for 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really control the injuries, but I do think it's something to monitor. Darren Waller is such a big piece of their offense. Like, I love the fact that another frustrating thing, dude. It's like they have their guys and now they're paying them. Oh, this is awesome. Look at that. They're going to be on this team for the future. Oh, the future's bright now. Nah, not really the case this year. And it's just, I do think it's absolutely a sign that, they said, screw it. Screw it. We not only have Nate Hobbs currently on injured reserve, but you know what? We could put 2 of our best guys on offense on there too, because this season's all but lost. Like, that's why Blake Martinez retired. The only dude who felt like it was the only guy who was making plays in that last game. And another thing, like, now that looking ahead to the Colts, that trade with Rock Ya-Sin for Yannick Ngakoue, like, I'm not saying that was a waste of a trade. I don't even know what Yannick's done this year. But Yannick was at least causing havoc in the pass rush game on the outside last year compared to Chandler Jones. And Rock Ya-Sin, like, that dude's constantly getting beat. I've barely even seen a pass defended from that dude. And it's been a disappointment so far with Rock Ya-Sin. So, like, I'm also thinking that trade, man, all these moves that they made, it's just they've come back to bite them so far.
Yeah. Well, Yannick Ngakoue does not fit their scheme, I guess, in the 3-4 illusion of complexity they wanted to run. But it's not really Chandler Jones thing either because he's only getting half a sack.
Yeah.
It also just looks like I don't want to say guys aren't trying, but every time he pass rushes and he just like this doesn't look like he's trying as hard to get to the quarterback. It just looks like he knows he's going to get beat by the left tackle or the right tackle. It just I don't know, man. The only guy that's making consistent plays is Max Crosby.
Yeah.
That whole defense I think needs to go. But as far as the injuries, yeah, Darren Waller not being out there, Hunter Renfrow not being out there is bad.
But I like, but they'll need them next year,
Of course.
Like they'll
course.
absolutely need them. And if they're going to turn it, I do think like Renfrow and Waller are two guys who are very talented, very skilled. The injuries are concerning, but I also, unless you're talking like a guy like Jason Verrett, which just stunk to hear that news earlier that week.
Yeah,
That's just always a somber news when you hear that. But like when you hear that, a guy like that has only played in 6 games from 2016 to 2019, and then you're thinking, okay, well, that's risky. That guy's probably, he's had a lot happen. Torn labrum, torn ACL, like his ankle problems. Okay, yeah, that dude, I'm kind of cautious about signing that guy to a long-term deal. But with these guys, there was no caution because I don't really believe like they're injury prone right now. But oh gosh, like I'm all over the place this morning because I don't really know what to think. My brain is all scattered because the Raiders have just boggled everything and baffled everyone. And oh my god, like the Waller and Renfrow thing. You know what? Give them time. Just let them sit out. Let them recover. Get ready for next season. like
the whole season.
Yeah, just you know what? Whatever. Sit them down. Test Derek Carr.
I think you need Derek to have some weapons though to really get a good gauge on where you stand with him next season though.
Yeah, and I want to just want to see Waller and Renfrow actually like watching them was just a joy. Like watching what they could do. Like Waller with his speed and the hands, just watching him high point footballs, being able to catch it in double coverage, being able to outrun the defense. Then Renfrow in the red zone, putting them. I like it when Peyton Manning does this. That's what we like to call a China route. And so I don't know why, but anyway, like when Renfrow would be in the red zone and double put a double move or even a triple move on a guy like Charvarius Ward, which he did against the Chiefs last year. I don't know, man. Like I just miss watching them play to their potential because I've seen it and it's awesome to watch.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. As far as today, well, actually, real quick before I say anything,
yes.
What if this team pulls like a Seahawks a year ago, where they started just lighting it up offensively? Like the last few, like let's say the last 2 games of the season, they beat the Niners and they beat the Chiefs, and they just score a shit ton of points. Will that give you hope for next season? Or is it too little too late for you at that point?
I think that
while you answer that, I'm gonna get some napkins because these wins are getting to me.
Feel free. I'll be talking. No, my whole thing is I think that that this season, it doesn't really matter what happens this season and carrying over into next year. Like, do I like it for the confidence factor? Yeah. Do I like it because, you're probably sticking with Derek Carr and, maybe you can think you can improve upon it. But at the same time, like going into next year, it's a totally different season. Like, I don't want to just say, oh, well, they closed out their year last year. Like that's the whole thought process that made us think that they would be possibly even winning the AFC West. The fact that, if you were able to come back from last season after what happened and you managed to make it all the way to the postseason, oh my gosh, imagine what you can do the following year. And now look, it's just a total turnaround. So I don't want to have that thought process of, well, if this happened last year, I'm looking forward to it this year. Like, no, the thing that would get me excited though is like the thing that I am looking forward to is for McDaniels and Ziegler to have a first-round pick. I'm looking forward to that. That'll kind of I'll carry that into the next season and think, okay, if you get a guy like this, but Yeah, if they make a run though, whatever. At least we'll be watching competitive football.
Yeah. As far as today,
Yeah.
so the Raiders were taking on the Indianapolis Colts, who I guess are equally or more disappointing than the Raiders this season, but one of the more disappointing teams this season.
Ooh, that's actually, you know what? That's a fantastic discussion. Who's more disappointing, the Colts or the Raiders? Ooh.
I would say the Colts
Yeah, I'd go Colts.
because we thought they were going to be like the second best team in the AFC. You and I did, thought at least. I thought Matt Ryan would get rejuvenated going to Indianapolis, and he just looks old and slow.
They've paid more for their offensive linemen than any team.
And their offensive line looks terrible this season. And it may just be that they had to hold up for Matt Ryan and just it's just too long of pass blocking. But Jonathan Taylor has been just a huge bust fantasy wise and on the field. Their offense is not great, and they decided to bench Matt Ryan, and then they decided to start Sam Ellinger, and then they fired Frank Reich, and then they hired Jeff Saturday. And I wasn't surprised by this move just because I think Jim Irsay is just a crazy owner. But I mean, there's some aspects of it that make sense in the sense that you want Gus Bradley to stay on the defensive side of the ball, and Gus Bradley a year ago was not elevated to head coach of the Raiders when John Gruden was fired. So you may just want him focused on that.
Maybe he doesn't want to be a head coach.
That could be the case too. But that would also be a bad thing if you said, "Hey, do you want to be interim head coach?" and you said, "No, thanks."
Seahawks scored.
Oh, did they? You're ahead of me. Well, the Buccaneers did take the lead 21-3 on a Chris Godwin touchdown, but I guess I'm going to see now that it's a touchdown to Tyler Lockett, 21, pending the extra point, 21-10 Seahawks.
It must be that wristband, huh?
Yeah, God, that was some fun audio this week. But yeah, dude, I would say the Colts are more disappointing just because their franchise, they had Super Bowl aspirations this season, as the
100%.
Raiders kind of did. But yeah, just really disappointing.
When you got all these teams in the AFC that are like these new school, we're gonna try and convert on fourth down. We got these young coaches. We got Brandon Staley and Justin Herbert for the Chargers. Oh, we got Mahomes and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes do their own thing. We got, Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow. We're going to do this the old school way, old school football. We're going to run it down your throat. We are going to bully you on the offensive line, and our quarterback is going to be able to throw deep, and there's nothing that you can do about it. And our defense is going to get stops. Nope.
Not this season from the Colts. So the Jim Irsay decision to hire Jeff Saturday, I understand it just from a sense that he needs somebody that he can trust, and he wants a motivator of men. And it very well could be that he wants to lose. They're benching Matt Ryan. They are starting Sam Ellinger, who I watched at Texas. Great athlete. Not sure he's a good quarterback. And yeah, like I told Alon this week, man, I think it's going to be a hard sell to guys like Stephon Gilmore or Darius Leonard, or Shaq Leonard, I guess he goes by now. Matt Ryan, even. Like, this guy wasn't in the building all year. And now just in the midway point, he's going to come in and just be like, all right, guys, so what are we doing? Or like, it's one thing to be a good motivator of men, but it's another thing to actually game plan and know when to call timeouts, know when to go for it on fourth down, know when to throw the challenge flag. And it's very risky when you are an ESPN analyst and you criticize coaches and players for doing the same things that you're about to do. So while Jeff Saturday says he has nothing to lose, he has nothing. I mean, his reputation's on the line. If he fails as a head coach, an interim head coach, and it is just an interim basis, that's why I think that this move is not necessarily something that needs to be taken that seriously. I think that they're trying to lose a little bit, and they're just doing this for the interim, and they want to hire an actual coach in the offseason. But if he comes back as an ESPN analyst, how are we going to take him seriously?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing with Urban Meyer right now on college football. He says so little now because I don't care about his opinions. He, unless he goes back to college football, his last stop was a failure with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So everything you say as far as these guys need to do this and that guy needs to do that, you didn't do that shit.
Yeah.
So it's just it's hard, and I understand it's a slap to the face of a lot of coaches that had to bust ass to get in that position, and then Jim Irsay just hires this guy. That is a trend in other sports as far as baseball and basketball. Obviously, Steve Kerr had no coaching experience before he became Warriors head coach, and is probably the most successful at it. But it's just not something you would do in the NFL. I'm sure Jim Irsay called Peyton Manning and he said, "No, thank you. No, I want no part of that." And Jeff Saturday wanted to try it out. All the best luck to him, except for today. I think the injuries kill our confidence, but also it's the Raiders. It would be the most Raider thing today to lose to a coach with no coaching experience.
That's what makes me nervous.
If that, so let's just say hypothetically, if the Colts win today, what the hell do you do?
You forfeit the season. You take every loss. You say, you know what? You give us 2 wins, and then you draft Bryce Young.
I mean, yeah, that's the extreme. But
no,
it
you want a real answer?
Well, like it would feel like the world is over. Like for that devastating of a thing to happen, it would feel like it wouldn't be the worst Raider loss of all time because there's been Super Bowl losses, there've been playoff losses. But as far as like embarrassment, this would be the top of the list.
No, you got to do something. Actually, like straight up, like McDaniel. If they lose today, McDaniel's. It has to be in consideration that he suffers the same fate that Frank Reich did, and you just let go of him at the beginning of the season.
Especially when Josh McDaniels. I mean, this should be motivation for Josh McDaniels. It's himself today and the Colts. He turned down this job. Frank Reich was only in that position because Josh McDaniels said,
"Wow, look at you! Wow, what a connection! That's a pro move right there."
Yeah.
God, that was slimy. That was so slimy the way that McDaniels did that.
Was it slimy, or did he realize that Andrew Luck is not 100% in on playing football?
Yeah, well, maybe there's that too. Yes. Roger Goodell in Munich. Anyway, sorry.
Actually, that extra point was no good, so it was 21-9. Or did they go for 2? I actually didn't see.
I didn't either.
Let me check real quick. Pass failed, so they went for 2 and didn't get it. Anyway, Steven, we'll see what happens today with the Raiders and Colts. I think a lot of people are going to be interested in that game for different reasons. If you're a Raider fan, you're watching because you want to watch the Raiders, but you're also nervous as hell. And I think people around the country are just like, let's see this calamity of errors. Let's see this, this clown show, basically.
Or, I mean, the Raiders just absolutely dominate, and
Could be the case. Could be the case.
Boy, like, and you know what? I was thinking about it too. Like, sometimes, like, you just know when you have a good coach. Like, I'm convinced now, like, Pete Carroll is a damn good coach.
Oh yeah.
And like, we were kind of making fun of him, you remember that at the beginning of the season or prior to the season during training camp when he's out there with his gloves and he's playing quarterback, and it's like, oh, maybe Pete Carroll could go play quarterback for this team. They don't have one. It's like, no, this dude was teaching.
Yeah.
He was clear, like, whatever this method is that he has, it works because his team really plays hard. Now, granted, they're not about to, doesn't look too good right now, but like, I don't know, man. You just know when you have one, and it just doesn't feel like the Raiders have one right now in McDaniels. Like, when you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know. And the jury's still out on Josh McDaniels. I'd say you still got to give him another season, not a full season. You could do the old Al Davis thing where you give him like 6 or even 4 games next year and just be like, all right, I'm firing you for cause. But yeah, we'll see about Josh past the season. We'll see about Derek Carr past the season. Let's just live for today.
Derek. When you know, and it doesn't feel like we have the coach. You know what I mean? Like with Shanahan, for example, like when the Niners got Shanahan right away and they actually had a starting quarterback, and that starting quarterback helped lead them to 5 wins in a row to close out the 2017 or 2018 season, whatever it was, the 2017 season. It's like, all right, we know, like, Shanahan is a good coach. The way that we won those games.
Is he though? He does get his quarterback injured.
And then now it's like, but like, okay, we've got something in this guy. Like, we can win. With McDaniels, I don't know if we have something with this guy right now. I just don't.
Yeah. We will see. We shall see. But let's just live for today and see if the Raiders can survive possibly the most embarrassing loss of their franchise's history.
Yeah, I mean, what was Alon saying? Like, he's one of the most optimistic Raider fans I've ever met in my life.
Wasn't that optimistic?
Oh.
As far as this game, he was saying, well, as far as the future, he thought that he goes back. I mean, he agrees with us that he thinks that Josh McDaniels has some issues. Don't know about Derek Carr. He expects that the Raiders should at least win this game by 2 touchdowns today. Now, this was before that they put Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow on IR. But just as far as matchups and being a real head coach to I don't want to say fake head coach, but sure, a fake head coach. And this will bite me in the ass if the Colts end up beating the Raiders. But yeah, you should beat this team with the talent that you have. And now, granted, a lot of it is missing today, but with the coaching staff and I don't know, just everything at play. You have Sam Ehlinger at quarterback. If they were somehow to lose this game, yeah, it would be bad.
But like they've turned into the team this year, and they've always been this. This is another thing about their defense too. That's been that's been like the common denominator is if a player's looking to break out of their slump, like play the Raiders. If you want to have a breakout game, play the Raiders.
Why do you think I'm starting Jonathan Taylor today?
It's absolutely a play Jonathan Taylor.
And I'm playing the Raiders defense at the same time.
Even though they were like the only team last year to at least to let Taylor rush for 100+ yards, but still get the win or something like that. But
yeah, something like that, yeah.
But like, what was it? Like, I was thinking about it. Ryan Tannehill, right? In week 3, he looked like crap earlier on in the season. Then all of a sudden he was just slicing and dicing his way through the first half, scoring like 21 first half points.
Yep.
Alvin Kamara the other week, you were hearing it on the broadcast. You know, Kamara has been kind of a disappointment this season. He hasn't scored a rushing touchdown all year. And then boom, what do you know? He absolutely tears up the Raiders defense. Last week, I mean, it wasn't even like Travis Etienne. It was a thing for him. It's just like every week there's something. I bet you we could find like a week-to-week trend where it's like a breakout game for somebody. Except for like maybe the game against the Chiefs. I don't know. Like it's crazy.
Expect Jonathan Taylor to go off today.
Oh my God, it's prime for Taylor to go off today. Prime.
But maybe it's set up that way because they'll play the run and they expect John and Sam Ehlinger to make the plays and he won't be able to do it.
Yeah, maybe.
We shall see. As far as the other game today that pertains to teams that we talk about on this podcast, Chargers at the 49ers, Sunday Night Football. You got a team that is still above 500, but yet still not playing to their potential, I believe, in the LA Chargers. And then the Niners that are sitting on, coming off the bye week. They played a great game against the LA Rams. Christian McCaffrey looks like he's going to be the savior of this team. There's still a lot to play, but Niners look, in my opinion, like the second best team in the NFC. I know the Minnesota Vikings have a great record at 7-1, but if you had to ask me who's going to win in a matchup between the two teams, I would take the Niners over the Vikings. But yeah, Steven, what do you think about this game today? Chargers at the Niners. Justin Herbert looks like he's playing better and actually healthy from that rib injury. Do you think Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler are similar players?
Very. Yeah. Yeah.
Who would you rather have?
I think so. Ooh. Well, they really are the same because they both get hurt a lot. Yeah. It's never really the serious injuries either. It's like, it's always just ones that'll keep them out for like 3 or 4 weeks. And then they come back for like 2. And then they have another injury that keeps them out for 2 weeks.
Right.
I'd say, gosh, that's probably McCaffrey. I think I'd take McCaffrey, but that's a pick your poison. That sounds like I'm trying to disrespect Eckler. Like Eckler's fantastic, but I think, they're both small, incredibly strong backs who could do everything, have a nose for the end zone.
Very similar, but I would take McCaffrey as well, even though I think Eckler's going to have to carry the load more today because there is no Mike Williams and there is no Keenan Allen.
Yeah, no, for sure. And Eckler's just been unbelievable this year. If you stop Eckler, like you stop the Chargers, there's no doubt in my mind there. Yeah, God, that's a great question though. They're very similar. Like those offenses, both these offenses were, I mean, prior to all those injuries with Allen and Williams, I was looking at this matchup earlier before the season, like, ooh, that's going to be a good Sunday night game if all those guys are healthy between a Chargers team that looks like that. But now that those two guys are not healthy with Williams and Allen, the fact that those two guys are out, yeah, I don't know. I think the Niners, because I agree with you. I think the Niners are still a damn good football team. Um, I mean, the Cowboys actually look pretty good this year so far. They look okay as long as Dak, performs. But as far as the game tonight, I'm very curious to see how Shanahan uses everybody. Like, God, these games are
Debo
long.
and McCaffrey now.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of time, but at the same time, it's like you got 60 minutes of football, but at the same time, it's like it's not a ton with offense. And if I'm just very curious to see how they distribute everything. It's almost like an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah. And I would have loved to see Joey Bosa go up against Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
Obviously not head to head, but yeah, Chargers have a ton of injuries from Rashawn Slater to Jalen Guyton to Joey Bosa. And they're missing their two top receivers. So I think it's going to be a challenge for the Chargers tonight. But I do think they can stay in this game if their run defense can stop anybody, because it's just been so surprising how bad they've been. Khalil Mack came over and was supposed to help with the run defense, but he hasn't been helping with that, even though he's making fantastic plays. I think he's got 6 sacks on the season, and he had a great play against Drake London a week ago where he just took the ball away from him. But it may be a tall order for the Chargers today.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Niners absolutely have the upper hand tonight. Plus, they're at home. The Niners just play different when they're at home. Man, I don't know that but with this team, like as I'm looking at the bigger picture, because I do think the Niners are going to I really think they're going to make it to the postseason. I think they're going to make a deep run into the postseason. But it also depends on the seeding too. Like if the Seahawks lose today, like that'd be a huge game that you got to win here, so you can actually gain a game on them in the standings. Like if you win the NFC West and you're within that top 4 and you at least have a home game, like that road to the Super Bowl is that much easier. And I think that like with this talent, like with Debo, McCaffrey, Kittle, I mean Ayuk, Kyle Juszczyk, Jawan Jennings is your third receiver. If those guys stay healthy this second half of the season and they go in, like, there's no excuse to not make a deep run into the postseason if those guys stay healthy. Like you think the Raiders had a lot of talent on offense. Like, Jesus, the 49ers, it's just stacked top to bottom. The only thing that's the problem is the offensive line.
For the Niners?
Yeah, if there's like any unit that I had to pick, if I had to nitpick from, but like, I mean, Aaron Banks would been fantastic.
I would say quarterback, but
oh yeah, well there's that too. But he had a really good game against the Rams.
No, he did, and I think McCaffrey's going to help him immensely. What if they added somebody? The Niners. Well, so here's the report from Adam Schefter last night. Odell Beckham Jr. would like to whittle down his current list of potential teams, which includes the Cowboys, the Bills, Chiefs, Giants, and 49ers as soon as possible and have a decision by the end of this month. Now, if Odell Beckham joined the Niners, that would help them immensely, and their offense would be very explosive. However, I think that Odell Beckham is thinking about the long-term future. I don't think this contract is supposed to be just for this season alone. I think that he wants a multi-year deal. And if I were to guess, I don't think that he probably wants to play in a Kyle Shanahan offense, but he has to think about, who am I playing with? Am I playing with Jimmy Garoppolo? Am I playing with Trey Lance? I think the obvious choices are between the Bills and the Chiefs because you have quarterback stability there. And it's surprising to me that the Rams are out of the picture, I guess, at this point. Not surprising because of how poorly they played, but I just thought he just wanted to be an LA Ram. It was pretty obvious the whole offseason, everything. They were just waiting for this opportunity. But things change. I didn't think that McCaffrey was going to join the Niners, and sure enough, he did. Right. I would be very surprised if the Niners signed Odell Beckham.
I'd be shocked if they do because, think about the Bills' selling point. Think about the way that you would tell, like, hey, do you want to come over here? Here's going to be your role with the team. Like with the Niners, it's like, here's going to be your role. you're probably going to get in the slot, to start out. We're going to ease you in, then you're going to get in the slot, and maybe you'll be a third down guy. But the way that we run our scheme is we are going to run the football, and we are going to make short intermediate passes, and maybe use you as a 3-4 target type of guy, but if you're comparing that to the Bills, and you got to do that with Jimmy Garoppolo. But you
got to block.
But if you're with the Bills are like, look, our run game stinks this year. All we got is Devin Singletary and James Cook, if I'm not mistaken.
And Nyheim Hines.
And Nyheim Hines. Okay, there you go. But our offense is going to be ran through Josh Allen and the passing game. We need a replacement to Cole Beasley. We don't have that guy. We are going to just throw it all across the field. We're going to have a spread offense where it's just going to be Josh Allen in the shotgun, and he's just going to be making plays, and he's going to get you the football. And you get Stephon Diggs as a teammate who's going to be taking up a lot of attention.
And your buddies again with Von Miller.
Like where there's, it's perfect. It's perfect. If you want to,
it's cold though.
It's very cold, but I think that he'll be okay.
I would say that's probably the right choice as well, but I don't know. We'll see.
Cowboys
seem like that's the one he wants to go to.
I mean, come on. It's like the Cowboys. Jerry Jones. The way that Jerry Jones is probably going to sweet talk him, it's going to be like, oh my God. Like, what was it? Oh my gosh. What was the Oklahoma's coach from the Bosworth days?
Oh, I'm forgetting everybody's name these days. God damn it.
I can't remember his name. He Cowboys head coach also one year.
Yeah, I know.
This is gonna bother both of us.
What's wrong with me these days? I can't remember people's names. Last podcast, I couldn't remember Frank Reich's name. I couldn't remember Barry Switzer. Thank you, Eric.
Barry Switzer.
Jesus Christ!
But like when Lowe
my own name.
When Lowe would be on the on the morning show, he'd always talk about just the selling that Barry Switzer did to try and get him to go to Oklahoma. Like, and just the way that he talks, it's like, I got to think that Jerry Jones is that same type of guy where he's like, oh, you get to wear the iconic star on your helmet. You know what I mean? Like all these sort of things. And plus he gets to play with I think Dak's a decent quarterback. I haven't watched a lot of Cowboys football this year. It's weird.
Deep good.
Huh?
The defense is good.
Yeah. Like I know I've seen Micah Parsons highlights, and I've watched.
He's probably your leading defensive player of the year candidate right now.
Yeah, I need to watch a little more of him here in the second half of the season because I haven't watched a lot of Cowboys football.
And to think of selling points with Barry Switzer, Jerry Jones had to sell Barry Switzer on the Dallas. So there you go.
Right, and it worked. Yeah, I don't know, man. Bills or Cowboys seem like the likely place.
Or Chiefs. I could see Chiefs still.
Yeah. It's just like when you look at it, I mean, you take Dak, you take Josh Allen,
Lamb.
You take. I'm talking about quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You get Patrick Mahomes, and then you get Jimmy Garoppolo, where with those three other quarterbacks, they are given the freedom to really do what they want. Jimmy Garoppolo
or Daniel Jones. I don't think he wants to go back to the Giants.
No, I don't think that will happen. That'd be interesting. But
it will be interesting, but I don't think that he's going to want to do that.
Man, it's just I don't see it happening. The Niners have. I'm sure they've taken a look at it, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either. All right, should we pick some of these games?
Well, let's pick them.
In a little thing we call wins or wings.
All right. Oh, hang on. Sorry.
Yeah,
I need the music.
By the way, it's 21-16 right now with the Seahawks and the Buccaneers. Give me a time. How much left in the game? 2:18, and the Seahawks are down to one timeout left. So it looks like that game may close pretty soon here if the Buccaneers pick up a first down. We'll keep you updated as far as the games today. The Detroit Lions go to the Chicago Bears. Another disappointing team this season, I think, in the Detroit Lions. Even though I didn't think they were going to be a playoff team, I thought they'd be a little better than what they're showing right now. But regardless, they go to Chicago Bears, and the Bears had an offensive explosion last week against the Miami Dolphins. Still lost the game, but they've been scoring a lot more points lately since their game against the New England Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Today, they're 2.5-point favorites, and the over-under is at 48.5. Steven.
Funnily enough, I actually got the Lions winning this game. I think it's going to be a bounce back
Ooh.
for the Lions, even though they're in Chicago. I
And
really
you-
believe that. DeAndre Swift back with their offense, and give me the over in this game. It's going to be a shootout.
There you go.
Bears and Lions and Bears. Oh my.
Oh my. I initially was going to take the Lions, but I may just need to go against the grain a little bit this week because my picks have been bad. So I'm going to take the Chicago Bears to win, and I'm going to lay the points, and I agree with you. I think this game's going to go over because I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. Then you got the Houston Texans going to the New York Giants. Funny enough, the Texans have never beaten the New York Giants in their history. The Giants are 4.5-point favorites. They're coming off the bye, and the over/under is at 41.5.
Damn, a lot of money coming in on the Giants then if the number's that, because it originally opened at 6.5. But I am still going to take the Giants. I'm going to lay the points with the Giants. And what was your over/under again?
41.
Yeah, 41. Give me the under in this one.
I think exactly the same as you because the Texans' offense is not great. Speaking of not great offenses, the Saints go to Pittsburgh. Andy Dalton still starting for the Pittsburgh Steelers, or the New Orleans Saints. I think at some point you go to Jameis Winston, but whatever. And the Steelers are coming off a bye. And they don't have Chase Claypool anymore, so it is a George Pickens, Kenny Pickett combination there.
And they also do not have Minka.
Yeah,
Getting
Minka
Minka
Fitzpatrick is out, but DJ Watt is back for the
TJ
first time
Watt
since
back.
week 1.
Ooh.
This game is a straight-up pick'em, and the over/under is at 39.5.
I'm gonna go with the Steelers at their home crowd, and with their home crowd, and I am gonna go. God, 39 is such a low number. I think I'm gonna go over with that one. I know the under would probably be the more appropriate one to take, but I'm gonna go against the grain, against the thinking.
All right, I am going to go under, though. I think that just both offenses are stuck in the mud, and I am going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers coming off their bye, especially with the Saints having to travel off of a Monday Night Football game. So I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
Speaking of bye weeks, the Broncos are coming off a bye week after their their win against Jacksonville in London. Ryan Tannehill is back for the Tennessee Titans today as the Broncos go to Tennessee. The Titans are missing a lot of defensive players, but they're still 2.5-point favorites, and the over/under is at 39.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, I mean, Jesus, Jeffrey Simmons is a huge loss, and just both Simmons on the other side, both Simmons on both teams, Justin and Jeffrey, big losses there. But I'm going to take the Titans in this one. I'm going to take the home favorite, and then, give me the over. Just give me another over. That's a low number.
And I'm assuming you're laying the points?
Yes.
All right, then. By the way, I don't know his name, but with the last name White for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just ran for a first down against the Seahawks, and it looks like they're going to even their record at 5-5 and get the win over the Seahawks. So let's see, 21-16. What was that? That was 44.5.
1 second. My brother's coming to the door. I'm just going to unlock the door, the front door. He's coming over. Hang on 1 second.
All right, do your thing as I filibuster. Yeah, who's this guy for the Buccaneers? The last name White. Hold on. White. Buccaneers. Bear with me, everybody. Not Devin White. Rashad White. There we go.
Thank you. Go sit down.
Tell Ian I said what's up.
Yeah, he can hear you. Yeah, go sit down. What are you doing? Stop walking.
He wants to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess the under is going to hit in this game, so that points to me for Bucs Seahawks.
Oh, well done. Gosh, you got that's Vegas right there. That's like a perfect, that's a perfect line because it's like you could only lay the points with the Bucks if they were going to go under, I guess. I don't know. Whatever.
Jags at the Chiefs. The Chiefs are 9.5-point favorites, and the over/under is at 51.
Yeah, the Chiefs Chiefs are coming off a bye, aren't they?
No, they barely beat the Titans.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you know what? I'm still going to lay the points with them. I know 9.5 is a huge number, but I think they're going to destroy the Jags, especially seeing the way the Jags just beat the Raiders. And I'm going to take the give me the under.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I am going to take the Chiefs to win, but I think the Jags are going to cover.
Yeah.
I think it's going to. I think it's going to be a interesting, close game.
It just feels like I've through this, like you've trended in a way where you're trying to go against whatever you've been doing. Like whenever there's a big number, I normally take the other team to cover, and that just never hits. So,
Yeah.
And you know what? Change it. I'm going to go over. Change that. Change my pick for that one. I'm going to go over.
Can't
with
change it.
that
You already said what you said. It's too late.
All right, that's
No.
fair enough.
No,
That's
I
fair.
got you. It's over. Fine. All right. Then we got the Cleveland Browns going to the Miami Dolphins. And the Browns are on a bye. Dolphins are 3.5-point favorites. Over-under is at 49.5. But this is a revenge game for old Jacoby Brissett, as he was a Miami Dolphins quarterback a year ago.
Huh. Yeah, I'll take the Dolphins. Lay the points with the Dolphins. I think they win. And give me the under, though. I think it's a high number. Give me the under.
Oh, Steven. You take revenge into consideration 0%. I, however, think it's going to be a big deal for old Jacoby Brissett going to Miami today. I'm taking the Browns to win, and I'm going to take the over. I like that.
You going to lay the points with the Browns?
They weren't favored. I'm not laying the points. I'm just taking them
Oh,
to win.
sorry. Excuse me. Yeah. Okay. Nice. Little upset. Okay.
And then a game with a lot of intrigue today. Two really good teams in their respective conferences. But we didn't know if the starting quarterback was going to play for the Buffalo Bills, but it sounds like he is with an old elbow injury for Josh Allen. But apparently it sounds like it can't get any worse. So Josh Allen, all indications are Josh Allen will start today. If I haven't seen any new updates.
Do you see that throw that he made at the end of the game where
Yes.
I think
Even after the fact?
dude, like he like that first, so he makes one where it's like, okay, there's something definitely wrong with his elbow. And then he makes he makes that deep throw where it's like he put everything into it. Thought his arm was gonna fall off. And I actually thought Gabe Davis was gonna catch it.
Yeah. It looks like Josh Allen's going to start. So
Yeah.
with that said, the Bills are 6.5-point favorites, and the over/under is at 46.5.
Damn, 6.5.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Because right here I got -5 as the current odds, but that's also
Ooh.
just
Where are you looking?
I'm looking on CBS Sports app.
You're probably right then.
But anyway, whatever. 6.5. We'll go with 6.5.
5. Ooh.
6.5. We'll go with 6.5.
Okay.
No, I'll take the Bulls.
Little tickety Bills.
I'll take the Bills to win, but I'll take Kirk Cousins, Mr.
Oh,
Kirk
God.
Cousins with the chains. I'll take him to cover, and then
Are you going to take your shirt off too?
I'll take the over with that too. Yeah, I don't know. That might have been one of my favorite videos of the year. Just Kirk Cousins in a plane with 50 pounds of jewelry on him, and Zadarius Smith just laughing his little ass off in the aisle.
ass off. I'm going to take the Bills to win. I am going to take the Vikings to cover, and I'm going to go under. I think it's going to be a defensive game a little bit. But you took the over, huh? Are you going to do this the rest of the podcast now?
Yes.
All right,
It's a
then.
Sick dance. It's like Hitch. It's like in Hitch when Will Smith is telling Albert Brenneman just to.
I'm not
Actually-
Hitch guy.
Now that I think about it, that slap to Albert Brenneman carries a little more weight now after the Oscars slap. It's like now he slaps Albert Brenneman. It's like, damn, you have a history of slapping, Will.
Are you
Sure.
talking about Kevin James?
Yeah, Albert Brenneman. And Allegra Cole, bro.
Allegra Cole. Great names. All right. The game that you and your brother will be freaking out about today. Colts at Vikings. At Raiders. Despite everything.
Hang on. You are absolutely going to be freaking out about that game.
Oh, of course I will be. Of course I
Yeah.
will be.
You will be.
Because I just... For over 20 years of my life, a good deal has been going into work the next day or school and having to hear everybody give me shit about the Raiders. And if this were to happen, if the Colts were to beat them, woo! I can't defend anything with this. So, despite all that, with Darren Waller being out, Hunter Renfrow being out, Blake Martinez deciding he doesn't want to even play in this game, he retired. The Raiders are 4-point favorites against the Fighting Jeff Saturdays, and the over/under is at 41. Steven, what's your predict?
I am gonna go. Look, man, just lay the points with the Raiders, and for just the sake of it, I'll take the over, just because I think 41's a low number, and the Raiders' offense can still score in a half. It's just a question of whether the Colts are going to answer back in that next half and then come back and win. And
Yes.
Jonathan Taylor has his what's it called? Jonathan Taylor has his
Resurgence?
breakout game. Yeah, the resurgence game, the one game that every fantasy owner needed. What? Ian's just showing me something. What is that? Hang on. It's a Raiders thing.
Okay.
Some guy on Twitter, 814 sports journalist featured on ESPN, Michael Balco, says, I've spoken with numerous people within the Raiders organization, and the general belief is that the team will part ways with Derek Carr and set their sights on Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud.
I respect that Ian showed you that. But at the same time, I've seen that guy's post. I've seen his
Yeah.
reports before. He said it was a slam dunk that Brian Burns was going to be traded at the deadline. He also said that Aaron Rodgers will not return to the Green Bay Packers next season. There's a lot of people with blue check marks these days I don't give a lot of credence to.
Oh, so you're saying he's an $8 a year guy or whatever?
No,
it
I'm
is?
just saying that a lot of shit he says doesn't come true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what is he, like the Jordan Schultz of football?
No, Jordan Schultz is just a shill for sports agents. And also his last name's Balco.
Yeah, it's true. It's a scandal.
It's a scandal itself.
Anyway, what are you doing?
I am going to take the Raiders. I'm going to lay the points, but I'm going to go under. I think it's going to
Okay.
be a very low-scoring game. And I think Gus Bradley gets a little revenge in some aspects, but they don't win the game. Josh McDaniels gets his revenge, I guess. Cardinals at the Rams. It's looking like this is not going to be Kyler Murray versus Matthew Stafford. It looks like it's going to be Colt McCoy versus John Wolford. If that's the case, well, let me give you the details. The Rams are favored by 3, and the over-under is at 39.
Oh, gosh. Well, give me the under, first of all. And I did not know that. I did not know about the Kyler thing. That's kind of news to me.
By the way, have you watched the new Hard Knocks?
Not yet.
DeAndre Hopkins, not a fan of Kyler Murray.
All right, I'll have to watch. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Give me the Rams. Give me the Rams. Yikes. Give me the Rams.
Lay the points?
Lay the points with the Rams.
I'm going to go with the same thing with you.
Gosh, this is a don't touch that game bet.
And then you got the Cowboys at the Packers. Sounds sexy, but it's not. The Cowboys are 3.5-point favorites, and the over-under is at 44.5.
Yeah, lay the points with the Cowboys. I think they're going to win, even at Green Bay's home field. Like, it's just, I don't envision a Packers win until I see, I don't know, maybe them play the Bears again. Have they played the Bears twice this season? I don't think so.
Not twice.
Huh?
Once. Just the one time.
And then I'll take the 44.5 is kind of, give me the over. Just give me the over.
Ooh,
Pretty
I'm going to take the
stupid.
under. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
pretty
take the under.
stupid to take the over, but I'm going to take the over.
And then we got the Chargers at the 49ers. The Niners are 7.5-point favorites, and the over-under is at 45.
Damn, 7.5. So money
Yeah.
was. Ooh, that's still the same. Actually, it's always been 7.5. I'll take the Niners to win, but I'll take the Chargers to cover.
Damn.
Yeah, I'll take the Chargers to cover that one, and give me the under in that game. Ooh.
You and I differed a lot on the over-unders. I'm going to do the same thing, except I will take the over.
Ah,
And then Monday night.
interesting. Chargers are 4-0 on the spread away, so it'd probably be a safe bet to take them to cover.
Well, there you
4-0
go.
against the spread and away games.
Commanders at the undefeated Eagles. The Eagles are 11-point favorites, and the over-under is at 43.5. No Carson Wentz, which is a real buzzkill, because you would have loved to see him go back to Philly, but it's going to be Taylor Heineke once again, my friend.
Yep, going to take the Eagles, lay the points with them. I think they're going to
Ooh.
wipe the floor with them. And then give me the Yeah, give me the over.
All right. I'm going to take the Eagles to win, but I do think they're going to. I think the commies, the commies, or commanders, however you want to call them,
The
are
Commandies.
going. Yeah, the commandies sounds good actually. I'm going to take the commandies to cover, but I think it's going to be an under game. I think it's going to be low scoring. And there you have it, Steven. There are picks for Week 10. I'm down to 1 win. So while I eat that,
Yeah, you haven't even flinched. Like that's how much you like the atomic wings. You seem like you enjoyed a breakfast.
trust me, my butthole's going to be flinching a lot after we get done here.
This is true.
Um,
what is the game for you though? Which is the one today that you got to watch?
I guess Colts Raiders, but as far as an entertainment standpoint, Vikings Bills.
Vikings Bills is going to be a good one. I think so. Maybe maybe Packers Cowboys can actually be a good game. And
I mean, that's still like a fun, in the afternoon. It's Cowboys, it's Packers, it's Fox. Even though
Yep.
it's not Joe Buck and Aikman, who they sound like they're sleepwalking every Monday night now. You can't go wrong with any football, Steven. Although I will admit, you've been missing a lot of these midweek shows. I will be completely honest with you. There's been a lot of bad football. Lot of bad football. And I will admit, I said to Alon on Thursday, or Wednesday last week for Thursday night's game, I have no interest in Falcons-Panthers. I watched it. Believe me, I watched it. But my excitement level was like, ugh. Because between just the poor play and the teams are putting on nationally televised games, like, ugh.
I told Jesse, I was like, she's like, isn't there Thursday night football tonight? Don't you want to watch football? I'm like, you could put the Sharks game on. We'll watch Sharks.
By the way, I may need your help.
Huh.
I'm in a Sharks pool at the KMBR facilities.
Oh, that's fun.
And it is fun. But I am not the most diehard Sharks guy. So we do a draft.
That's lightly putting it.
I do watch the hockey playoffs, but
There you go.
sadly the Sharks have not been in the playoffs for quite a bit of time now. We do a Sharks pool where we draft players for each game, and it's based on which player we think is going to score first. And not only do you have to get a player right, if you get that player right, you have to claim it. You have to go in the group text and say, claim, give me my money.
Okay.
Sure enough, last week, who's the guy with Meyer? Last
Yeah.
name Meyer.
Yeah, Timo.
I picked Meyer.
Yeah.
And it was a game last Thursday. There was a shootout.
Right.
I forget who they were playing, but great game.
I think it was the Panthers. Might have been the Panthers or or was it the Maple Leafs? I can't remember.
Regardless, Meyer scores the first goal, and that was my guy. And
Nice.
sure enough, I forgot to claim within 24 hours, and I lost my money.
So are you in like another one?
It happens every week. It happens every game. But the money rolls over to the next game, and sure enough, I lost out on the 16 smackaroos I could have received. So, Steven, I will tell you my picks for today in the Sharks pool once I pull it up. I had a 10th pick. Whoops, who am I calling? Hold on. Let me get the Sharks pool text. I have Kunin today. Kunin. So if he scores a goal today, you let me know, sir.
I'll let you know. It has to be the first goal though.
The first goal.
Yeah, I mean it's a long shot, but so good luck.
Thank you.
Meyer's on a tear right now. Couture's been
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm never gonna live that one down of having him and then not getting the money that came through for that.
Carlson has been fantastic
He has
so
been.
far to open the season. Just yeah, you'll get there. Barabanov would be a good pick, number 94.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was already taken.
Maybe Kevin LeBanc. I don't know.
Yeah, Steven, all taken. I was I had 10. I had the 10th pick. Slim pickings when you get to the Sharks pool. Before we get out of here, I'm going to eat this last wing, and while I do that, Steven, tell me your thoughts on Joe Fortenbaugh joined us before the season started, NFL season, and we talked about the growth of gambling,
right?
Sports gambling. And most cities and states are going with the flow of, embracing sports gambling. But The good state of California is not into it whatsoever. 83% said no. About 16 or 17% said no, yes, to sports gambling, online gambling, Prop 27 in California.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know when this changes. I don't know what is the big holdup of why people don't want to do it. I think the ad campaigns are stupid. But Steven, your thoughts on Prop 27 not passing and us not having sports gambling in California?
I don't know what the like. I'm sure there's a lot of cons. I didn't even look into the cons. That was one where it's like I looked at it. I was like, oh, all right. Like I didn't even read into that one. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like it'd bring in a lot of money. I don't know. Like I don't know the political aspect of what sports gambling does to the state and all of that. But can't say I'm like too surprised, I guess, considering we are from California and it's just such a massive state. I don't know. It's just I really don't have too many thoughts on it, to be honest. You threw a curveball to me, man. I don't know. Of course, I wish sports betting was legal, but there's other factors that play into it.
Well, how do you do it though? I know you do it. So it's not legal here. What's your loopholes?
Well, keyword is used to. I haven't in quite a while.
Okay.
Yeah, haven't I had since like last football season. But how I did originally was it was just using like some offshore betting site. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
The one that's always publicized, like for the fights and stuff. Bet Online is what it's called.
Got it. And that's how most people do it here in the Bay Area. But
yeah, I haven't done that in a while. It's been nice not losing anything.
It's nice keeping your money. I get that.
Yeah.
Yes, Ernie. There are boneless wings, and oh god, it makes it more terrible. Real quick, we haven't done pop culture catch up in a while. Steven, have you seen the Weird Al Yankovic movie yet?
I haven't.
Maybe one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
Okay, you said that about Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar, and that was just so. It was funny, but it was so dumb. It was so dumb. It was hard to watch for longer than an hour.
You're not giving it justice. But I will say Weird Al is funnier than Bar and Star go to Vista Del Mar. All right. I'm losing Steven. He's got shit to do with his brother.
Apparently, yeah, he's bothering me. He's like, can I go to the bathroom? What are you? He's just standing. He's just standing in the middle of the room. Who does that?
People that need to go to the bathroom.
You can go. And he said my mom thought Weird Al movie was really funny. So there you go.
It's hilarious. On that note, Steven, say what you always say, my friend.
That's just our opinion, man.